if you want to be a coach, maybe these are some of the things that I think are important. When I was coaching the women's team, I did a survey of the players after maybe 5 or 6 years, and indeed these were the 5 things that they were looking for most in their coach at the time. They wanted somebody who was knowledgeable, who was on top of the detail, who did the work, who studied the other teams, who was on top of what was happening, what was new and fresh. They wanted a hard worker and somebody who was always looking for something different, wanting to continue to learn. They were keen to have a coach who would be listening and flexible, and so they could provide feedback. And indeed, I think it's important to understand that the real innovators in hockey aren't necessarily coaches. I think it's the players. Unless you have that sort of a two-way relationship with your players, then you miss out on ideas, sort of good messages that are important. The players certainly wanted somebody who was consistent, whether you're rewarding or you're redirecting, whether you're providing praise or you're delivering criticism, then they looked for consistency. And more than anything else, I think number 5 there, they wanted to know what you thought. You make a mistake if you think you can trick them, or you want to give messages that aren't accurate. You better say what you think. You better always provide them with your honest assessment of what's going on. They respected that. They might not always like it, but if you're consistent and honest, then you build a relationship on which you can build things. For anybody who wants to coach, then I think it's absolutely critical that you be yourself. Lots of us look at coaches in other sports, and we look at coaches in our sport, and we think they have things that are desirable and good. And by all means, you should be looking all the time to take ideas and build your persona. But you have to really be yourself. And the other thing that's important is, as a coach, you have to provide enthusiasm. You have to lift the place, and it's important that you do that. If you don't really know what you want, if you don't really stand for anything, you'll get found out. And so we should always be looking at our approach to the game, how we want to play it, what things we think are important, and you better stand for those things. And that's really, really important. But if you look at that second point that I have there, know what you want and stand up for it, I say until. And the until is about, sometimes things move on. You have to change. That what was a good idea 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago isn't such a good idea now. And so you better have the capacity to adjust, grow, evolve as a coach. I think the third point is absolutely essential. You can never let standards drop. You have to insist on quality all the time. If you start to take shortcuts, if you think that there's a way in which you can do it that won't that might be easier, then guard against that. And of course, the last thing I think is critical for anybody who's coaching anywhere. Your responsibility is to create an environment which is a learning environment, but one in which the players are interested, challenged, and having fun. And I don't care whether you coach the national team or you coach the under 10s or the juniors or the school team, whatever it is. Your obligation as a coach is to create an environment to have fun. They will learn better. They'll come back, do more if you create that sort of environment. I think those sorts of things are absolutely necessary.